Yo, Tom, aka Jedino here for Tabletop Tap Room. And we have what may be the final word I'm going to say on Justin Lanassa. Clearing your throat over there, babe.
Sorry.
I think the good wife is calling me out in my hopefulness. This is going to be one of those videos. I've alluded to some facts that I knew of, but I could not share them because, you know, I had sources who had been like, hey, you should know this. And they were filling me in on details concerning TSR and what was going on. And they don't want to go on the record. They don't want to be outed because, you know, they understand that Justin is a little bit litigious. You know, he throws out threats of a lawsuit like some people pass out breath mints. You know, here's a tic tac for you. Here's a lawsuit for you. Here's a lawsuit for you. That kind of thing. So
it's like Oprah.
Like Oprah.
Right?
Here's a car for you.
Here's a lawsuit. You get a lawsuit. And you get a lawsuit. And you get a lawsuit.
How many lawsuits were we threatened with, babe? I've lost count.
I can't track that.
I mean, if every one of those was a car, we'd have no room in our driveway. So, yeah. So I have sources who have supplied me information, and I've alluded to some information, hoping people would pick up on it on the Quest for Legitimacy video. I will probably make that the video at the very end when you get to the end cap, and there's my little T3 symbol, and then a square over on the other side. You know, for a video to click on. I will make the Quest for Legitimacy video one over there. So, but it's actually, the point is probably moot on that because I could only allude to certain information I'm now going to reveal. I've been given permission to reveal from the source. And it puts a lot of things in perspective with, you know, because there's been so many things that we're like, why are they doing this? Why is he doing this? And we've just not understood the why. It's like, it doesn't make any sense. Scratch your brain. I mean, just lift the top of your head off and actually scratch the brain. That's how bad the itch is, that you're like, none of this makes any sense. So I hope to make sense for you, the watcher, and I'm pretty you know, I'm hopeful. And now I get it. I'm sure that the little rage monkey is already creating, you know, logins on Twitter, and is going to climb the Twitter tree and play rage monkey and throw poo at everybody. I'm certain that that's probably going to happen within a week or two. He can't help himself. He likes doing it too much. You know, and I just think that, you know, maybe the best case now is to just ignore that. But let's explain what's going on with TSR. Well, a story fell right at my footsteps here this past week. People were contacting me and saying, did you know? Did you know? And so we all know that that Justin Lanassa is very publicly banned from GaryCon. His persona non grata. That's public knowledge. That everybody knows that. Well, somebody contacted me, was a organizer for DaveCon, and was, would you like to hear the story about Justin Lanassa and how he got banned at DaveCon? And I was like, sure. You know, is rice white? Well, actually, some rice is brown. But, you know, do bears poop in the woods? You know, something like, you know, I mean, that sentiment, you know. So I learned that that Justin Lanassa is officially and permanently banned at DaveCon. Well, that was interesting. So that's two significant major conventions that he's banned at. And then I heard a rumor that somebody sent me a rumor that there was like some sort of an unofficial banning at Gamehole. So I contacted the organizers for Gamehole, and they said, yeah, that information is correct. they didn't want to say that it was an unofficial banning. They said it was an informal banning, that basically they denied his vendor license last year, and they think he got the message. But that if he ever attempted to register to come, they would, make a more formal statement. So it's very informal with Gamehole. They didn't want to come out and make, give gas or air to it. So that's 3. And then I got thinking, I says, well, you know what? I bet he's persona non grata at North Texas RPG Con. And so I contacted the organizer for that. And his response, he actually IM'd me back about 4 different statements. The basic statement is, as a general rule, we don't make public whether we ban any individual. However, there's another statement that's kind of a read between the lines, if you will, where he's like, well, Eric is a prominent attendee. So there you have it. It's kind of a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Say no more. So, it's kind of a read between the lines. He most likely wouldn't be welcome there, and I doubt he would want to go there anyways. But that's 4 significant conventions, and you have to ask yourself, how bad is it if you're a game publisher and within 1 year of operation, you've already been banned at 4 gaming conventions? I mean, that's like some kind of world record, Guinness World Record or something. I mean, I would be willing to bet that he's probably banned at more conventions than he's ever attended in his life. That's not a claim to fame you want as a game publisher, which comes right back to it. Why would he go out of his way to antagonize convention organizers? Why would he exhibit this kind of behavior? Well, that's because he never intended to really be a game publisher. The alleged story that I've heard and everything else from this individual has totally panned out. So I'm inclined to believe this person when they say they were on a Discord chat with Justin and a slew of other people, Ernie and a bunch of other people. I have a list, and Ernie's the only one I'm comfortable outing as being on that phone call. And he's like, first of all, he says Justin loves Discord, loves doing everything in Discord, and which I'm like, observational evidence. He's not on Facebook a lot. He's on there a little, but he's not on there a lot. So it does seem like, those statements from him are accurate, but he claimed to be in a phone, a video conference on Discord in the private TSR section that the regular members don't get to see. And that he bragged that his plan was to scoop up a bunch of trademarks and squat on them, and that because of the 50th anniversary of D&D coming up, that Wizards of the Coast would not want the controversy connected to the 50th anniversary, so they would just pay him $1 million to get the trademarks back. He then expounded upon the plan that that they would have to publish some games real quick to legitimize the company as a game publisher. It was not about the games; it was about legitimizing the company. That's an important point. So when you step back and you say, all right, they come out and they announce they are TSR, getting the band back together. They are the original TSR, and famously Tim Cass called them on that. You're not the original TSR, but it was important for them to assert that for that air of legitimacy. They he then recruited Ernie Gygax Jr. You got, son of Gygax is with us. That's an air of legitimacy. Gygax brings in Duck Leeson, So now you're assembling a stable of TSR royalty. Ooh, so he's adding to the legitimacy. They go looking for and they buy Dungeon Crawl from Wizard Tower Games. And again, it's not about producing a game for gamers. It's about pursuing that legitimacy to legitimize the company for the negotiation with Wizards of the Coast. Because if they can present the face of we're a real gaming company, they're hoping to negotiate for $1 million payday, maybe millions plural is probably what's really hoped for. So you get a game, and that's why you see things like these limited things that they have published as a game publishing company lack editing. They don't pay for an editor. Why would they pay for an editor? It's about having the game to sell, not about selling the game to gamers. So they don't care about the editing. They don't even care about shipping out the games they did sell. People who bought stuff online and they're not getting it. Why? We don't care. We just want to have stuff on the shelf to point to say, look, we're a real game company. So there's no editing. They use Grammarly sometimes, not even consistently. They use Grammarly for editing. They consider that Justin has stated that would be enough. That's only enough if you're not servicing the customer. You're servicing your own ego. So the games were about publishing Star Frontiers. You have to publish a rule set for Star Frontiers to legitimize squatting on the Star Frontiers trademark. So I have bad news. Well, it's not really bad news. Nobody's going to buy it. But I have news for Star Frontiers fans and gamers out there that there is a manuscript, and I have seen it. I am still working at getting permission to share what I've seen. So, I've got to respect, the source, but I've seen it. And when they showed it to me, they said it was a hot mess. Now that I've seen it, I can say, yes, it is a hot mess, but to call it a hot mess is an insult to hot messes around the world. It goes beyond being a hot mess. Even Ernie's dedication page to his father, it's one big block of text, the whole page, and no paragraph breaks. It's rambling fragments upon rambling fragments, referencing things that the 90% of the people out there don't know about. So you're kind of like, you'll be like scratching your head going, huh? And it's just a rambling mess. If you were really doing a reboot of Star Frontiers, I could think of people to ask to do the dedication page of the book. Like for instance, Douglas Niles. I just interviewed Douglas Niles, and this is not to put down anybody else I've interviewed, but Douglas Niles, I think, was the nicest guy ever. It was my favorite interview ever, and I can't say enough nice about it. And such a nice guy like that. I'm sure if you were doing a reboot, you could have just approached him and said, "Hey, would you write a little forward, for our reboot of Star Frontiers?" Just because he's a nice guy. I mean, I don't know at this point if what he's heard about what's going on. He might at this point be like, no, don't want any part of that. What I hear is going on. But Ernie had nothing to do with Star Frontiers. So why is he writing this dedication? Oh, it's because you have the son of Gygax and you got to put his name on everything, and because it helps legitimize what you're doing. There's white supremacist stuff throughout it. It's a mess, and it makes hot messes look good, unfortunately. But again, it's not even a complete RPG. Why would we need that? We just need something to publish. And rumor has it from some of my sources that he has offered 10 and 15 grand for people to put it in layout. And these people are obviously going, no. So, I mean, wow, 10 to 15 grand sounds like a lot for a layout job. Although I think your job is going to be Herculean, like shoveling out the Stygian stables of all the crap, the labors of Hercules, because it's so, you have to like rewrite it as you put it in layout. I mean, it's that much of a disaster. So he's got to publish something to try to pretend to be legit as he's squatting on the trademark of Star Frontiers. So, and then the final nail in the coffin, how you really know that this is a joke, is the fact that he rearranged and added contents to the Dungeon Crawl game to mock people who criticize him. That's not what a normal game publisher does. That's just not normal behavior at all. That's somebody venting their spleen and feeding their ego. That is not a game publisher trying to service customers, trying to sell a game. So, it was there to vent a little spleen and humor his own ego when he did that. And again, it just shows that he just doesn't care about the customers. He cares about himself. He cares about $1 million payday. Now, last fall, he had already previously registered LLCs in Wisconsin for the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum and TSR Hobbies. And what's interesting is the agent's address that's listed for these goes back to Hardwire Tattoo in North Carolina. And then 1 week before he sued Wizards of the Coast, he made new LLCs, registered new LLCs in North Carolina, and made one of them a foreign entity, which is just a play at evading, trying to evade Wizards of the Coast. So it was preparatory towards the lawsuit. The lawsuit was in play for 2 days, then he withdrew it. But during that time, he had started the Indiegogo. And part of his bragging is that the gaming community would rally around him and support him, and he would have $50,000 in 48 hours. And then having the whole gaming community behind him in the fight against Wizards of the Coast would show Wizards of the Coast that it's in their best interest to just negotiate with him and pay him the $1 million to have the squatted on trademarks back. And let's just talk about those squatted on trademarks. Part of the application process for him to apply for them, he has got to affirm that he is not aware of these trademarks being used in commerce anywhere. So for him to push the application through, he had to lie and say he was not aware that these trademarks were being used, when he damn well had to have been aware that they were still being used by Wizards of the Coast, who then promptly sent him a cease and desist, to which he kind of gave them the middle finger. So this has been nothing but a get-rich-quick scheme to squat on trademarks that had not been renewed, but didn't need to be renewed under the prior commercial use clause, that they're continuing to use them in the commercial space and make money on them, principally through drive-through. So they didn't really need to do that. It's just not something they needed to do. So this was a get-rich-quick scheme. It was doomed to fail. And then I want to show you a special document. I just received this chart today as of the day that I'm recording. We're recording on Sunday and probably going to release this video on Monday. So when you see this, it will have been in my hands a day. This chart, to fully be appreciated, you need to have it in front of you. It can't be on a computer screen. This is intricate and complicated. I'm in awe of the brain behind putting this thing together. This charting is just phenomenal. And so it charts the known businesses and how they connect. For LNASA, you have these 10 points over here on the side that are, a lot of them, they say things like, if this happened, then this would be the consequence. If this, so those are worth reading. But what I want to direct your attention to is this little box down here, if you see the cursor on the screen. And I will read to you what it says. It says, very important. If the game was purchased, this is referring to Dungeon Crawl. Dungeon Crawl was purchased from Wizard Tower Games. And somewhere in my notes, I have the price that was paid for it, but not at the top of my head. But it was a hefty price. It was into the thousands. And very important note, if the game was purchased with credit cards, checks, or bank transfers and other bank transfers from other LLCs that LNASA holds, that would sever the veil of protection and show he commingled funds. Now it's saying if. Now I cannot say to you that he has commingled funds for a number of reasons. But I will.
Know what I mean? Nudge, nudge. Know what I mean? Say no more. Say no more. Say no more. Know what I mean? Nudge, nudge. That's good. A nod's as good as a wink to a blind bat. On the commingled funds, just a big. All right. Nudge, nudge. Say no more. Say no more. The commingled funds has been leaking out, particularly when you see that this idea of the commingled funds has been leaking out, and there is evidence being developed. People are putting things together. Like, for instance, when you go to Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum to, for instance, maybe purchase the Cult of Abaddon, which won't be shipped to you, or Dungeon Crawl, which won't be shipped to you, which is absolutely funny. But when you go there, and let's say you're purchasing with PayPal, so you complete a transaction with PayPal, you're going to see who received the funds on your PayPal account, and it's the vape shop that Justin owned in North Carolina, in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is out of business. It has been dissolved. That LLC has been dissolved. It's out of business, but he continues to use the bank accounts for the something city Kava vape shop for purchasing things for Dungeon Hobby Shop. And this has been reported on N-World. And so any purchases you make at Dungeon Hobby Shop goes into that account, and then that account is used to purchase. And it's alleged that this is a way of avoiding paying taxes on the money. It's a dead account for a dead business. We're not going to file taxes for that business, obviously. So this commingling of funds, which I cannot say that it has happened. I cannot say that I've seen evidence that it's happened, or that somebody has told me things. So I can't say that. But Justin has probably lost his coverage from the LLC. And that's going to be too bad for him in court with Wizards of the Coast. The other thing is that with all of these addresses overlapping from the different LLCs, he has cross-mingled his LLCs. They're all entangled. So that's going to impact him in court when he's trying to say, oh, no, you can't touch my assets over here. All his assets are going to be touchable, including the 19 properties that he and his wife own. So anything's going to be touchable for damages for TSR. So it's going to be an ugly train wreck. But ultimately, all this was a get-rich-quick scheme and a grift to squat on some trademarks. And I think he underestimated the will of the company to fight him in court. He thought that the gaming community would rally around him because of the TSR name, because of Ernie Gygax. He thought that people would get behind him to fight Wizards of the Coast over the legacy disclaimer. He just thought he was going to get rich quick. And that does not appear to be the case. And he's not been serious about any gaming product he has produced. They're all flawed. They all show horrendous editing. And, it's been a get rich quick scheme. So what do I predict is going to happen here in the future? Well, I predict a Mack truck smacking a bug. The Mack truck will be Wizards of the Coast, and the bug most likely will be, the defendants in the court case. We'll say it that way. And as for Justin, I'm sure he's already creating new logins and alts on Twitter. And it's only a matter of time before the rage monkey climbs the tree and starts flinging poo at anybody and everybody. So I think the response now at this point to the rage monkey flinging poo is to ignore him, just to shut him out and ignore him. I don't see anything else. I mean, this channel will continue to cover gaming news. I think what I've just laid out today, allegedly from the sources who supplied me information, sources I trust, I consider it news. And I think it's important for the gaming community to know. Just recently saw a post where somebody had said they were very tempted to pay for the license to put a TSR trademark on their product, but then they saw the coverage principally by Eric Tenkar and went down the rabbit hole on those videos. And long story short, thank God I dodged a bullet was the man's assessment. So I think I will continue to do videos like this, but I'm hoping this will be the last word on Justin until the court case. That might be overly hopeful. The good wife certainly thinks so, and has laughed at me for trying to be hopeful about it and call this the final word.
Yeah, that's not happening.
It's not happening.
It's not that I don't have faith in you. I don't have faith in...
You don't have faith in him.
You know who.
Well, yeah, because the pattern has been that you're like hoping that you just won't have to report on Justin Lanassa, and a week or two goes by and then something comes up and it's like, oh God almighty.
He can't help himself.
Yeah, it's almost like he can't help himself. But I think to a certain point, maybe some of that is that he wants the attention, this hopefully will be our last reporting on him until the court case, or until there are other legal documents that we can download from Pacer in the court case. We are certainly looking forward to the final disposition of the court on that court case. Definitely of interest to gamers, it's of interest to myself. So you can expect that in the future, but I am really hoping to just be like, no. Coming up this Wednesday, we've got an exciting new release on a new gaming product directed towards Star Frontiers fans. So you're not going to get a Star Frontiers New Genesis, but I got something for you that you should check out. And that's coming up on Wednesday, so we'll give a little plug for that. So this is Tom for Tabletop Tap Room. That is the skinny on what was going down with Lanassa. And there was so much more I could have reported on. I could have gone into the LLCs and more evidence of commingling of funds and all that. Look, I don't think we need to belabor the point. He's a scammer. He's trying to scam. He's trying to scam the gaming community. He's certainly scamming his customers because he's not even mailing stuff they paid for.
Listen, Dave is busy in his living room.
No, we're not talking about Dave. We're talking about Justin Lanassa.
I know, but Dave's putting the books together in his living room.
Oh, yeah.
Back off.
She's referencing, we found Dave's Amazon wish list, which included all these bookbinding machines and bookbinding supplies. So apparently Dave's going to be assembling Star Frontiers New Genesis by hand in his living room. Uh, but the things that are not shipping are supposedly what's printed. You know, Cult of Abaddon, Dungeon Crawl. These are not shipping to the people who paid for them. So, you know, he's scamming his customers. He's a scammer. You know, it's just sad. It's just really sad. So, Tom from Tabletop Tap Room. The Good Wife is across the way on the other side of the other screen. We're signing out. We want to thank our subscribers. Thank you for watching. You guys are great. We appreciate it. Thank you. If you're not a subscriber for watching, consider hitting the like, subscribe, and bell icon. Help us build the channel. But until then, keep on gaming.